Yeah. And, Rob, one of the things I love about the book is that I was thinking about this last week when I started going through the early chapters. And what you've done is you've taken what we might call neuron theory 101 and translated that into just common language, right? So that anybody can understand it. And, going back to this idea of the disconnection within our professions, where you have the scientists doing their stuff and you have clinicians doing their stuff, and then you have lay people who struggle to find answers for things that are really challenging for them. One of the big problems is that pretty much no matter what your credentials are, if you're DCs like we are, medical doctors, acupuncturists, whatever, none of us really learn the brain well in our basic training. And for most practitioners in practice, the brain kind of remains this mysterious black box that they know it's there, they know it's important, but they don't know how it works. And that's why I love the book, because like you said, Peter, clinicians can and will take that book and read it. And I would say get a better neurological education than what they came out of their basic training. Would you guys agree with that?
Absolutely. I agree. The early chapters of the book, he did a marvelous job, not only explaining the foundation of his principles, the 10 principles of the functional disconnection, but in an earlier chapter, he really goes into the neurology behind brain asymmetry, and then talking about how our sensory systems and how it's connected to the left brain versus the right brain. So I think for us, a lot of times we would have our parents, our dads. I always say in interviews that, dads would only say, hey, read these 30 pages. These are the most important pages of the book. If you read them, you'll get the fundamental, what's the problem? And then really ultimately, how are we going to fix it? How are we going to address it?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think, as you said, Steve, the combination of someone who does really, high level research, that really is a researcher, someone that's a clinician, those two things, you don't see a lot of that really coming together. You kind of see one or the other. And, and you can obviously see value of being able to have both. But then being able to turn that into also, how do you explain this to the lay population so that they can understand it and they can use it?